Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor today to moderate a conversation with three women who have been forged in crucibles of fire and pain that are unimaginable, in crucibles caused by imperialism, conflict, war, genocide, the Cold War, and a myriad forms of patriarchy. These are women whose backbones are of steel and whose hearts are as big as our glorious sun. And so I invite you to really bear witness to the courage, the vision, and the sheer resilience and daunting bravery of these three women who are with us today. I'm going to start with you, Mina. Your mother went into labor when Saddam Hussein launched a chemical gas attack on Halabja in 1988. So you became a refugee from the moment that you were born. And yet, last year you were named by Forbes as one of the most influential 30 under 30 women in Europe. Tell us how you came to be running this incredible organization, Women Refugee Route.
So, yes, of course, I became a refugee when I was in my mom's womb. And by the chemical gas attack in Saddam, which drove us to Iran. And since then, until I was 11, we flew back and forth from Iran to Iraq. We joined my father with family reunification to Germany, but the violence from my father continued, and I had such a courageous mother that was able to take me and my siblings with herself and escape to Denmark, where we were granted asylum. And from there, I grew up and started Women's Refugee Route 3 years ago, to be able to advocate for the women who are still in the transit or who are seeking refugee. And the reason I did that was because when I have been a refugee myself so many years, I've been working in the field so many years, and it was so gender lack of the way the whole operation in the settings was for refugee women and girls. And at the same time, I also went to a lot of UN agencies and European institutions where I realized in the hearing, in the resolution, who were made for women, it was always white men in suits that were talking about the women's behalf. And I couldn't stand for that, so I took my seat back. I took my seat back and told them this was my seat and I need to advocate on behalf of women and girls that concern. So I created advocacy training for refugee women and girls that are in Europe to be able to show their voice, which they have. We just facilitate their voice and investing in their voice to be able to do something more remarkable as they do when you invest in them.
Thank you. Your mother is in the audience today, yes?
Yes, she is.
Would you stand up, please? Thank you. Thank you for your courage and for this gorgeous feminist daughter who is changing the world. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn to you, Dr. Samar. So you wanted to study to be a medical doctor, and the only way that you could do that was by getting married. And so you ended up in medical school in Kabul, and 4 years after your marriage, your husband was disappeared during the coup. And today, you are the chair of the Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, where you have led some remarkable changes in Afghanistan itself. You're in the middle of another peace process in the country, and we'd love to hear from you about your indomitable spirit and the journey that you've been through to get to where you are now.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much. And it's always a pleasure to be in this program with the Women Refugee Commission. Yes, I got married because, of course, Afghanistan is a very male-dominated society, and I was not allowed to go to university, although my brothers were already in the universities, the one who was older than me. So after 4 years of our marriage, my husband was abducted and he disappeared, and I continued my education. And then I decided to move to a village, to a district which was not under control of the government on that time. Of course, we had the coup d'etat with the support of USSR on that time. And USSR had a troop, 140,000 troops in Afghanistan in order to support the puppet regime, the regime that they had. So I worked there and tried to help women. And I was doing everything to reach any woman who are in need. For example, I was riding donkeys for hours and hours, or walking by feet in order to reach the patients. Most of the time when I was reaching to the place, the lady was already died, or she passed away. Then I moved to Pakistan and became refugee, and I have to say that being internally displaced and also being refugee is a very difficult condition to put it in a word. It's quite painful because the women in Afghanistan, including myself, we've been witnessing the destruction of our villages, the destruction of our muddy houses. We were pushed to become refugee, and we lost our loved ones, and we saw the destruction, the civilian casualties every day, and we keep, unfortunately, seeing that. But then I was refugee for 17 years in Pakistan. I was just telling Mallika that I was really facing a lot of problem by the Pakistani government on that time. And I had to go to the special branch of police every week in order to say that I am here, because women were not counted on that time. So it was really, the whole focus was on men, because they were carrying the gun in order to fight against the USSR, against the communism. It was not women. So just to, I don't know if time allows, I just say one small example of the activities that was done by even United Nations. When in 1989, when the Russian withdrew from Afghanistan, so United Nations Development Program started their office in Pakistan for Afghanistan. So I went to see this man and I said, oh, I'm so glad that you started your office. So you might have programs for women also. And he looked at me, he said, for women? I was in Afghanistan in one of the village for 1 week, and I have not seen any woman. And I said, do you think these men who fought against the USSR and pushed them out of Afghanistan are dropped from the sky? They have mothers, they're born of mothers. And then he said, well, I have not seen. And I said, it doesn't matter if you have not seen. They are women, and they are existing. So the overall condition or overall situation was, as I told you. So there was not enough attention paid to women. So that's why I started this organization, started a hospital for women and children in schools. And I do believe education is the foundation to change the mentality in the society. And that's what we missed, and we're still missing it. Although we have 9 million children going to school, but the quality of education in the schools are not as good as it should be. We still have a lot of, around 2 million IDPs in the country, in Afghanistan, and more than 4 million refugees outside of Afghanistan, in Iran and also in Pakistan. I stop here. Thank you very much.
So just so you know, Dr. Samar has been nominated for the Nobel Prize, and she spends her time. But she says Obama got it instead. But I also want you to know that she does her job as chair of the Human Rights Commission under constant threat to her bodily integrity. She is not able to attend any public functions like weddings or funerals, and she is accompanied by bodyguards everywhere she goes. And so I think we sometimes forget the day-to-day situation that many women live with in order to do the work that they do. So I really wanted to just have you understand Dr. Samar's courage. And so thank you so much for being here. I'm going to turn to you, Maggy Barankitse. You lost 16 members of your family in the 1993 massacres that hit Burundi. And yet, you stayed the course, rescued 25 kids, and then created Maison Shalom, where you have worked with thousands and thousands of children that you call your own. And when I was talking to you earlier today, I asked you about your children, and you said, I have 50,000 children. I would like to know what your journey has been in terms of the decisions that you've made about your own life and what you think about the future of children and the work of Maison Shalom.
Good afternoon. Thank you to invite me to celebrate this day. It's our anniversary. We must sing. Of course, in my country, they call me the crazy woman. And it was craziness because in Burundi, since the independence, we kill each other. Hutu and Tutsi, Hutu kill Tutsi, Tutsi kill Hutu. Then when I was young, when I was a teacher, I decided to disturb. I tell to my family, I am tired. I will adopt Hutu and Tutsi children. I will not marry. My family said, not married? And you don't want to become a nun? I said, no. I will show that the problem in Burundi, I will raise children, give them love, give them opportunity to create a new generation who will be able to break this cycle of violence. Unfortunately, in October 1993, horrible things came in my country. They killed my family, and I was obliged to leave my village. And I protect friends who were not the same ethnic group. They came and they tired me. They killed 72 people in front of me. But inside to hate, I decided to love and to forgive. Then I took all those children, becoming orphans, and I fled. And I began my organization without money, but with love, because love makes us inventor. I built a hospital, dedicate this hospital to mothers and children, schools, bank. But 4 years ago, again, the war broke And the president, current president, who gave me the name Mother of Nation, I became the first enemy of the country. I was obliged to flee because they said I am a criminal, because I defend the right for the children. When I fled, I arrived in Luxembourg, but I said no. I must return among my people and teach them how to live in dignity, how a refugee is a normal person. I don't understand why they took us like disabilities people or beggars. I said, no, we have talent. I went in a refugee camp. I opened a workshop. I took young people. I sent them back to university. I sent 400 young people back to university. And I transformed this life because I believe that if we stand up, we can change the world. And for me, I believe that we are one human families. We are citizens of the world. And we can live in dignity. It's why I promise you to disturb and to stand up and to create one world where it's better to live as brothers and sisters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maggie. As you can see, these are three remarkable women who represent one part of the incredible family that is the Women's Refugee Commission. And so on behalf of WRC and on behalf of all of these leaders who are showing us new ways to live in this world, we thank you. And we invite you to really ground yourselves in your hearts, as Maggie said. Let's end patriarchy, but more importantly, let's build a world where we can all live with dignity, in partnership, and in love. Thank you so much.